From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Melinda Akilami.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, troops of Operation Hadinkai announced the rescue of 6 civilians, including women and children, during military operations in Goza local government area of Borno State. Inspector General of Police Olatunji Disu visits Akwa Ibom State, warns against impunity and recklessness in the force. Family of slain 28-year-old Oganemene in Delta State demands for justice for the murder of their son. The U.S. President Donald Trump threatens immediate takeover of Cuba after Iran war. On Sports News tonight, Arsenal storm 6 points clear at the top of the Premier League as Bukayo Saka and Victor Gyökeres put Fulham to the sword in a comfortable win. We begin with security matters. Troops of Operation Hadinkai have announced the rescue of 6 civilians, including women and children, during a military operation in Goza local government area of Borno State. According to a statement signed by the Media Information Officer of Operation Hadinkai, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, the victims were intercepted and released in the early hours of May 1st around Amuda, a deserted corridor known for terrorist movement. The statement adds that, acting on credible intelligence, the troops encountered the victims who had escaped from captivity while returning from an overnight mission. The troops came under sporadic gunfire from fleeing terrorists attempting to recapture the escapees, but responded swiftly, forcing the attackers to retreat into the hilly terrain. The Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, has warned officers and men of the Nigerian police force against impunity and professional recklessness, noting that their badges or uniforms is not a license to kill innocent citizens or a shield from justice. The IGP stated this while responding to journalists in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State during the passing out of some retrained police constables at the police mobile force base.
The retraining of these officers is in line with your directives to reposition the force for greater efficiency and responsiveness. The training focused on weapon handling, discipline, intelligence-led policing, and respect for human rights. Sir, it is important to inform you that among the trained personnel you are seeing today, some have already been carefully selected by the screening committee to serve in the newly established Violent Crime Response Unit created under your directive. These will serve as a strategic strike force in combating violent crimes and enhancing rapid response capability within the command.
I'm sure you are going to ask me about the incident that took place in Delta some few days ago. So we're not happy about it. And then what did we do about it immediately? Luckily, the FDC was in session. We brought them in. They were being tried. The officers faced the FDC, and they have all been recommended for dismissal. I have not been able to get the Police Service Commission today, but I'm sure they will have done their part, because I spoke with the Chairman Police Service Commission, who was not very happy about the incident, and he said he was ready to cooperate, that immediately our letter comes, they are going to grant the dismissal of these officers.
We'll have more on that story in the course of the bulletin. But to politics now, the governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, has officially left the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and joined the Allied People's Movement, APM, along with his loyalists, bringing an end to weeks of political speculation surrounding his future. He was formally received into the APM by the national chairman at the government house in Bauchi. Governor Bala Mohammed explained that the APM remains the best platform to achieve his political ambitions and where his supporters can freely vie for positions without rancor or legal battles. Our correspondent Hajara Liu has this report.
Following a prolonged internal crisis in the People's Democratic Party and the Supreme Court's judgment nullifying the party's leadership and the Ibadan Convention, the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum and one of the two remaining PDP governors, Governor Bala Muhammad of Bauchi State, has finally defected to the Allied People's Movement, APM. The journey to today's defection followed several failed attempts to join other parties. On March 31, 2026, Governor Muhammad indicated that the ADC was a preferred option after its leadership courted him.
Among the team we have Comrade Tanko.
A day later, the leadership of the APC also visited, initiating consultations between the APC and the Bauchi PDP.
After extensive consultations,
on April 18, the Bauchi State PDP discontinued talks with the APC, citing a failed realignment agreement.
The conditions.
In an unexpected turn of events, Governor Muhammad, on Saturday, May 2, 2026, formally announces his defection to the APM, shortly after an expanded stakeholders meeting held behind closed doors. At a brief ceremony attended by officials of the APM, he officially declared his move.
Consequently, and after extensive consultation, we have taken a firm and strategic decision to join the Allied People's Movement, APM, at the level of
what qualifies you to be a member of the party in your membership card.
The APM National Chairman, Mr. Yusuf Dantelle, formally inducts him into the party, handing over his membership card, the party's logo, and its flag.
Senator Bala Muhammad Kawaramboji, as the leader of the party, here is the flag.
Excitement swept through the hall as loyalists applauded. Governor Muhammad speaks on the reasons behind their decision to adopt the APM as the new political platform.
After careful consideration and wide consultations with leaders and stakeholders across the country, it has become clear that our efforts to restore stability have not yielded the desired results. As responsible leaders, we cannot allow our people to be led out without credible and effective political platform. Our duty is to provide clarity and direction. At the same time, make sure that the opportunity provided to all of us are not diminished.
The national chairman also explains why the party presents a safe platform and a credible alternative.
So when I was approached and I conveyed the message to the people that this is the overture that is coming from Bauchi, everybody danced. And it's, oh, Bauchi State Governor is a Democrat, let's go, and then we all discuss. Your Excellency, sir, I want to tell you this and the people of Bauchi State.
With this development, Bauchi State becomes the only state currently under the APM. The question remains whether the party can gain significant grassroots support as it prepares to field candidates for key positions in the 2027 elections.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has unveiled its first presidential aspirant for the 2027 general election, insisting that the party is open for members desiring to contest any political office. Addressing journalists after the unveiling, the presidential aspirant, Senator Sandy Ono, says Nigerians should be allowed to choose who they want, as the PDP will go into the contest in 2027.
Members of the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party, led by Abdurrahman Mohammed, are here to unveil the first 2027 presidential aspirant of the party. Notwithstanding the sympathy some of its leaders have for the ruling All Progressives Congress, the PDP insists on fielding candidates at all levels in the forthcoming general election.
The platform has been
given to all individuals that are willing to contest for any position across the state and FCT in all offices for the 2027 general election. And it is our earnest prayer that you should succeed so that our party will also succeed.
The aspirant was a former governorship candidate of the PDP for Cross River State, and now he is throwing his hat in the ring for the country's #1 seat, despite not having the support of the party's national leader, Nyesom Wike.
If Nyesom Wike does not support President Tinubu, Nigerians will condemn him for lacking in integrity and probity. So he has a right to choose to support President Tinubu, and he has made that right open and obvious. And I think that anyone with integrity should act that way. But the fact that he, as an individual, and even as leader of the party, has chosen to support the president, does not mean that that is the direction this party will go. Barrister Nyesom Wike is indisputably the leader of the party, but he is not the party. And if by the grace of God I'm granted leave and I'm democratically chosen to take charge and lead this party, I will do so courageously. I will do so with capacity and with a huge sense of responsibility. Let Nigerians choose what they want and who they want.
The PDP has lost the majority of its elected governors, as well as federal and state lawmakers, to the ruling All Progressives Congress, owing to a protracted leadership crisis. However, the party is hoping to gain lost grounds in the forthcoming general election.
Staying with politics, former APC governorship candidate Senator Aisha Binani has officially defected to the National Democratic Congress, NDC. Senator Binani was formally received into the party by the NDC leader, Senator Siriaki Dixon, during a brief but symbolic ceremony attended by party stakeholders and supporters.
I saw that the party focuses on structured, policy-driven governance. I knew people will be saying she just, 9 months ago, she was an ADC. I am one person who will never, ever condemn where I left. Whatever happens, politics is local. People usually say, your interest first in politics. But as for Aisha Tudairu Ahmed Binani, my priority and my first interest is the interest of my supporters.
In Ebonyi State, stakeholders of the ruling All Progressives Congress have adopted consensus candidates for all elective positions ahead of the 2027 general elections. Governor Francis Wunfuru announced the decision shortly after a stakeholder meeting at the Government House in Abakaliki, the Ebonyi State capital. He described the move as a product of extensive engagement within the party.
As the leader of the party, we convened a meeting of the stakeholders of Ebonyi State who are members of our party, the All Progressive Congress. And we deliberated on the issues that concern our party. And all the issues deliberated on, we have an agreement that His Excellency, the former President of the Senate, and the former Secretary to the Government of the Federation will address the press and inform you of the achievement made on this great stakeholders meeting. Thank you.
Meanwhile, the former President of the Senate, Pius Ayim, stated that the consensus arrangement followed wide-ranging consultations initiated by the governor.
Have reached consensus on all the elective offices. This is to say that we know that in some states, the consensus approach may not work, but Ebonyi had become a sample and an example. Certainly, it's your ingenuity, it's your mark of leadership, it's your style, it's your quality of leadership that you were able to get everybody to reach consensus in all these elections. And I want to assure you on behalf of the people of Ebonyi State that the people will be completely mobilized because they are part of the process.
In part two, after the break, Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project and the Nigerian Guild of Editors mark 2026 World Freedom Day in Lagos. That's in a moment. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Troops of Operation Hadinkai rescue 6 civilians, including women and children, during military operations in Goza local government area of Borno State. Inspector General of Police Tunji Braithwaite visits Akwa Ibom State, warns against impunity and recklessness in the force. Family of slain 28-year-old in Delta State demands for justice for the murder of their son. US President Donald Trump threatens immediate takeover of Cuba after war with Iran. The Zamfara State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has elected new officials to pilot the affairs of the party for the next 4 years. The State Congress, held in Gusau, the state capital, adopted a consensus approach in the selection of members of the State Working Committee.
Members of the All Progressives Congress, APC, across the 14 local government areas of Zamfara State converged on Gusau for the elective Congress aimed at constituting a new executive leadership for the party.
APC, the renewed hope agenda.
In his welcome address, the Secretary to the State Government, Mr. Abubakar Nakwada, urged members to remain united and committed to the ideals of the party.
The decision taken here today will significantly shape the future direction and strengthen our party in the state towards the 2027 general election, inshallah.
The chairperson of the Zamfara APC Congress Committee and Deputy Governor of Kaduna State announced that the Congress adopted a consensus arrangement and subsequently unveiled the newly elected party executives.
What we have witnessed in Zamfara State is a powerful statement to what can be achieved when personal ambitions give way to collective progress and when unity is placed above division. In this wonderful arena, I believe are people who have built the APC and its structures, those who have defended it in difficult times, and those who have continued to strengthen it. All of you represent experience shaped by service, influence earned through loyalty, and commitment proven over time.
The newly elected executive committee members were thereafter sworn in.
I do solemnly swear and affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Speaking after his inauguration, the new APC chairman in Zamfara State pledged to work closely with relevant stakeholders to strengthen the party and ensure its victory in the 2027 general elections.
We are fully aware of the challenges ahead, particularly the urgent need to strengthen unity, deepen internal democracy, and to reposition our great party to electoral success. Let me assure you that we are ready and resolute. In the coming days, we shall embark on wider consultation, reconciliation efforts, and strategic mobilization across all levels to consolidate our structure.
In his remarks, Governor Dauda Lawal urged the new executives to see their emergence as a call to service, stressing the need for dedication, transparency, accountability, and people-oriented leadership.
This Congress is both timely and strategic. It marks a crucial moment in considering our party's structures and strengthening internal democracy. As outlined in the program of event today, processing culminating in election affirmation and swearing in of the new state executive is vital and reaffirming the credibility, transparency, and legitimacy of our party at the grassroots level.
The newly elected party executives have been tasked with consolidating party unity and mobilizing support to secure the victory and re-election of President Bola Tinubu and Governor Dauda Lawal in the 2027 general elections.
So the stories now. The legacy of social justice, equity and true federalism championed by some Nigerians remains vital to the country's political conscience today. One figure at the forefront of that struggle was the late Dr. Tunji Braithwaite. At the 10th memorial lecture organized by the Tunji Braithwaite Foundation, speakers said his life exemplifies principled leadership, transparency and the fight against corruption. Our correspondent, Emmanuela Ekele, has this report.
Dr. Tunji Braithwaite wore many hats. He was a fearless advocate for justice, legal practitioner, activist, political leader, and philanthropist. He was a founding member of the Nigerian Advanced Party, and until his death in 2016, continued to push for revolutionary change in Nigeria.
In Jesus' name, I ask.
Today's gathering seeks to reignite his ideals through this memorial lecture themed Politics with Conscience, Leadership, Responsibility, and the Nigerian Social Contract.
This center should not be a monument of marble alone. It must be a center of impact where youth learn values, where justice and rule of law are advocated, where corruption through education and advocacy, and where governance is measured by service to the people. May his legacy guide our fate. May his courage ignite our conscience. And may the dream of a just and equitable Nigeria, his eternal vision, remain our collective mandate.
I would like to acknowledge those who helped organize today's events and those who have continued to preserve his work over the years. Your effort has made this gathering possible.
President Bola Tinubu, represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and other guests, described Braithwaite in glowing terms. They say his struggle must be emulated and the leadership must be rooted in humanity and service while confronting societal decay and corruption.
Dr. Braithwaite's legacy is mentioned not only in his monumental achievements, but in the entire administration of a nation. The administration of a nation that celebrates him as a champion of integrity, a resilient voice for justice, and a beacon of hope for a fair and accountable society. His contributions have left an indelible mark in our collective consciousness, reminding us of the power of principled leadership.
Because the future of this country will not be determined by policies alone, it will be determined by the character of those who lead. Dr. Tunji Braithwaite showed us that one man armed with conviction can stand against a system and remain unbroken.
A Lagos of legal institutions, of civil society, of an increasingly aware and engaged citizenry is in part the product of the sacrifices of men and women like Dr. Braithwaite. The Lagos State government recognizes this inheritance and commits to building governance structures that reflect the values it championed: accountability, transparency, justice, and dignity of even citizens.
The event also featured the launch of Braithwaite's biography, followed by a performance by Seun Kuti, a nod to the long-standing relationship between both families. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, and the Nigerian Guild of Editors, NGE, have called on the current administration to request international human rights bodies to embark on a fact-finding mission to Nigeria in order to unravel the root cause of insecurity and rights violation in the country. This was made known during an interactive session to commemorate this year's World Press Freedom Day 2026 in Lagos.
This is a one-day interactive session organized by the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, in collaboration with the Nigerian Guild of Editors.
Make provisions.
The gathering serves as a key activity to commemorate World Press Freedom Day 2026. The session is anchored on the theme, the role of the media in promoting people's rights, accountability, and access to justice in the face of growing insecurity in Nigeria.
There are greater number of people.
In his opening remarks, the president of the Nigeria Guild of Editors, Eze Anaba, emphasized the urgent need for all stakeholders to uphold and defend press freedom across the country.
There are greater number of people out there who have been victimized, who have been dehumanized by these acts of terrorism all over Nigeria. We should be their voice.
Fixing prices of. Joining the conversation, senior advocate of Nigeria and human rights activist Mr. Femi Falana took a trip down memory lane, reflecting on the long struggle against human rights violations.
The freedom gained from our colonial masters must not be toyed with. If you are a public officer and an article is written against you and you feel too irascible and you are annoyed, put cotton wool in your ears, because criticism is indispensable in a democratic society.
In a joint statement, SERAP and the Nigerian Guild of Editors demanded strict adherence to the rule of law, particularly as the nation navigates the challenges of growing insecurity.
SERAP, that is the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, and the Nigerian Guild of Editors, NGE, are calling on the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nigeria state governors, and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory to ensure that press freedom, the protection of journalists, and urgently bring an end to the escalating insecurity and widespread human rights violations across several parts of Nigeria.
World Press Freedom Day, observed annually on May 3rd, remains a global platform to celebrate the fundamental principles of a free press and defend the media independence.
The Platform Nigeria has marked this year's Workers' Day in Lagos with a strong focus on leadership, transition, and national development. Taking this edition of the Platform Nigeria to the next level, entrepreneurs in the fintech, agribusiness, and digital fields explored business cultures and strategies growing entrepreneurs and innovators can adopt in doing business.
One of Africa's most powerful fintech platforms.
Moving to the next stage of this edition of the Platform Nigeria, top industry experts and entrepreneurs share their insights on company culture with young innovators, entrepreneurs, business owners, and startups who are thinking about pivoting to the next level. The CEO of MoneyPoint, Tosin Eniolorunda, calls for more positive role models that Nigerian youths can model after. He also rolls out business tools that young entrepreneurs can apply to running successful business ventures.
You cannot set a business that is for profit and not have clarity of where you want to get to. The structures must be such that if people want to work, if something needs to get done, you know who is responsible for getting that thing done.
The CEO of Real Fruit, Affion Williams, stresses the need to build businesses that outlive and improve the nation.
When we think of the future of Nigeria, it might seem unimaginable to us. We don't know what it would look like, what problems it would face, what opportunities it will have. But I think we can be sure that we are able to shape, and by us, I mean the builders and the entrepreneurs of today, we can shape the country by what we decide to build and how we decide to build.
To build a clear brand identity, founder, Business of Social Media Marketing Training, Nancy Ogwe Nwosu, speaks to young innovators on leveraging social media and building a formidable footprint online.
For entrepreneurs, silence online is not I'm being neutral. No. To your market, you are irrelevant. You are the brand before your brand exists, okay? Your story, your face, your perspective, these are very powerful and they build trust. So please build what people will trust.
This year, the platform will be giving out 150 million naira in grants to existing startups and small businesses.
Are you 20 to 30 years old? Do you have meaningful impact that you're driving? Log on to www.theyoungprofessionals.ng.org. We have up to 150 million grants to be given. Applications close on the 24th of May, 2026.
This edition provides insight on how to navigate business landscape with clarity, networking, and developing business solutions.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's gross foreign exchange reserves drop for the 7th consecutive week as the central bank resumes its intervention at the FX market to support dollar demand. That's in a moment. Do stay with us.
We all see the world differently, but our time zones, politics, diplomacy, and sometimes conflict all converge in one place on The World Today. The World Today brings you those headlines from around the world with in-depth discussions that help you understand the world we live in. Don't be in the dark. Catch us weekdays at 5:30 p.m. only on Channels Television.
Know what's happening across Nigeria's various regions on Channels Television's Newsroom series. Every Monday, we bring you stories from the Southwest. And on Tuesday, the Northwest is our focus. We're in the South-South for midweek reports on Wednesday. And later in the week, the North Central takes center stage. The Southeast gets the spotlight on Fridays. And we close out the week with the Northeast on Saturday. Watch Newsroom series, 3 p.m., Monday to Saturday, only on Channels Television.
Welcome back. There was a lot of valuable entrepreneurial insight on the platform Nigeria by the Confident Nation in Lagos. A businessman and executive chairman of Symbol Group says the key to ensuring stability and sustainability in business can be found in finding structure and creative passive income. He urges the government to create an enabling environment for businesses.
Scaling in this environment requires more than ambition. It demands strategy, it demands discipline, and the right foundation. So 1, seek structure and value exchange early in your business. 2, start building passive income as you grow. The biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make is putting money back into their businesses, onto their failed businesses until it crashes. Then that's how you borrow someone 1 million and they come back 3 weeks later or 2 months later and say, oh God, the money has disappeared. I don't know how. What do you mean money disappeared? Because you didn't know when to stop. My charge to federal government, the only route to making people happy is to independently set up a national structure that will reach the nooks and crannies of this nation. Using a PPP structure that will be independent of political will to enhance delivery and sustainability.
Meanwhile, South African entrepreneur and CEO My Growth Fund Ventures Partners calls on budding entrepreneurs to strive to become good leaders and dropped some tips on scaling their businesses.
To get my slides to move, there's no clicking. Leadership is a mirror. Your ability to lead people is a consequence of your ability to lead yourself. And until you lead you, you have no business trying to lead other people. Until you deal with your demons, you have no business trying to mentor other people. Capital follows scale. And if capital does follow scale, then what are the 4 things you need to scale? This is what the data tells us. The first reason most entrepreneurs in Africa don't scale is because they don't know how to synthesize their operations. Running a rules-based environment rather than a people-based environment. In our environment, we call it synthesizing the operations so that even if you are not at work, work continues. Most African entrepreneurs don't know how to implement growth drivers. Every single business has 3 things that if you did, the business grows. Everything else is traffic. The role of a leader is to remove the noise and focus on the signal. Build based on insights. When you first start a business, you succeed because of instinct. But to scale a business, you'll succeed because of insight. Instinct is what I feel, insight is what I know. When you're managing people, if you do not have the ability to align incentives, you will fail. Your people must have incentives that are directly aligned with the business objectives you want to drive.
In Imo, the state government, through the Ministry of Water Resources, has intensified efforts to restore potable water supply. This is coming after 24 years of water scarcity in parts of the state. The state government says it's partnering with agencies like USAID, the World Bank, and Afri Development Bank on the construction and rehabilitation of about 965 water schemes. In this special report, our correspondent, Eitokwe Kuteye, examines the new development in the state's water sector.
For years, access to clean water in many communities across Imo State meant long, grueling hours of searching, often with no assurance of safe supply, accompanied by daily hardships. But that reality is gradually changing. From Amiri community in Oru East local government to Eluama in Olu and Dike Nafai in Idiato North, residents say ongoing rehabilitation efforts by the state government are bringing relief and improving daily living conditions as taps that are once without water now supply water to homes.
All I have to say is that they are trying, in the sense that, a rubber of water here is very costly. And it's costly that, the common man cannot afford it. But with this, we are enjoying it. We get it for free here.
At the Imo State University, the impact is also evident as students in hostels and surrounding areas are now enjoying improved water supply, reducing the burden of sourcing for water for daily use.
TAP has been rolling for us for a while now. There's no more stress going outside to fetch water because it has really been stressful for us going outside to go and look for water. Sometimes we'll not even get water.
The same story plays out in Urata in Owerri North, Ezunguru in Abombise, and Ubomiri in Mbitoli local government, where residents confirm that the rehabilitation of water facilities have somewhat eased the perennial water scarcity. While expressing appreciation, some community members are also calling for the initiative to be extended to other areas that have been neglected for decades.
Since he has remembered our community issue Bomini, we want the water to be reticulated to all the villages in this town. Though this area is a semi-urban area, so we need water to get to all the nooks and corners of our community.
Please, the government help us. I know you have been helping us, but try help us more. We need pipe so that this water can reach other areas.
Meanwhile, officials of the Ministry of Water Resources say the intervention is part of the broader strategy by the state government to ensure access to safe and affordable water across all communities.
If you actually went far and wide, they limited my principle as a rainmaker. What does that mean? That he would not stop in providing water for Imo citizens. Right now, we have procurements of about 1,000 water schemes that if he is satisfied with the processes of procurement, funds will be released. And he gave an instruction that he wants every community in Imo State to have a water scheme.
Corroborating his position, the permanent secretary in the ministry notes that beyond the water schemes already rehabilitated, the state is embarking on the construction of some more water schemes.
The state is awarding 365 water schemes to be constructed in the state and another 600 in each of the autonomous communities. Meaning that we've never had it that way, that it's happening so. And more so, what is presently being done in the water sector is not just construction of water facilities, there is an intentional approach to ensuring that whatever is constructed is sustained.
Through partnerships with development partners like World Bank's Shore Wash program, government is also focusing on delivering treated water with the aim of improving hygiene and sanitation infrastructure.
For the donor agencies or those international bodies to collaborate with you, there are certain standards the state must meet. His Excellency have made efforts in so many ways to meet up with the minimum standard. The Shore Wash program is taking place in only 7 states, but Imo State is one of the 7 states out of the 36 states of the Federation. And that is a sign that there is a serious interest of His Excellency Distinguished Senator Hope Uzodinma towards this wash facility.
As water gradually begins to flow to homes, schools, as well as communities once deprived of this precious commodity, residents are hoping that this won't be a short-lived experience. Their wish is for the project to get to as many communities as possible. Eyitope Channels Television News.
Governor of Kaduna State, Uba Sani, has criticized members of the opposition for allegedly trying to undermine democracy in the country. He stated this during a meeting with the presidential media team on a tour of projects in the Northwest region. Governor Sani hailed the president as a champion of democracy, noting that the region enjoys a level of favor under his administration.
Members of the presidential media team are taking a tour of some federal and state projects across northwest Nigeria, starting from the Abuja-Kaduna highway. The 375.9-kilometer project is at different stages of completion, with the Abuja section already at 95% completion. The project is expected to be completed by the end of 2026.
The rigid pavement on its own can carry most of the load regardless of what is happening under. So I can tell you and assure you that this rigid pavement is going to last within 50 to 100 years old.
The tour is part of efforts to highlight the impact of increased financial allocations to sub-national governments. One of such impacts is the construction of the 35-kilometer Gada-Gayam-Kujama Junction Road in Kaduna State. The road connects 76 farming communities in Chikun, Igabi, and Kajuru local government areas.
This is 21.5 kilometers that connects from here to Mando. Mando garage will take you to Birnungwari to Lagos. So this will also reduce travel time for people who want to travel either to Abuja or travel to Lagos.
The collaboration formed the crux of the address by Governor Uba Sani when he met with the presidential media team. He believes the collaboration has enhanced governance and service delivery, contributing to public support for the president.
President Bola Tinubu is supporting subnational more than any leader in the history of Nigeria. That is the problem. And because you understand the situation, development must be at the grassroots. Here is a man who fought for true federalism. We were together with him in the trenches. He spent decades fighting for true federalism, and he understands it. Development must be from the grassroots.
The governor seized the opportunity to respond to opposition parties who he claims are spreading rhetorics about the nation's democracy.
If elections are going to be conducted on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, social media, Aswaju will lose. But if it is people that will vote through the ballot polling unit, he's going to win 70% of the vote.
The governor is confident of victory for the president in Kaduna in the 2027 general elections.
Let's return to one of our major stories. In Delta State, the family of slain 28-year-old Ogenemini Ogidi is asking the police leadership to ensure that the officer who shot their son is prosecuted. This is coming after the IGP's investigative team concluded that the erring officer, ASP Nuhu Usman, will be dismissed and handed over for prosecution. For concerned citizens warn against such recurrence, adding that safety of citizens must be a priority of the police.
Now, wow, this pepper, oh. If there's this my pikin sick, follow me. Yes, now.
I want to assure you, and I've said it earlier, that the current Inspector General of Police will never allow such a thing. Even those minor issues, he doesn't take it lightly. And that is why he directed me to come here and assure the community, the stakeholders, that justice will prevail.
So the stories now. Nigeria's gross external reserve dropped by $65.5 million this week to $48.37 billion as at April 28th, marking the 7th consecutive week of decline. This comes as the central bank resumed its intervention in the foreign exchange market with the sale of $150 million to banks in an effort to support demand for foreign currency and stabilize the naira. The month of April recorded a significant decline of $731 million, largely due to CBN's settlement of government's external debt obligation, such as Eurobond. The total turnover of foreign exchange transactions carried out on the FMDQ platform rose by $324.97 million week on week to $1.76 billion as at April 30th. The figure, which represents a 22.66% increase against the $1.43 billion turnover recorded for week ended April 24th, was driven by the 21.84% increase in FX transactions. For the FX derivatives and forwards window, the turnover climbed by 616.50% week on week to $14.33 million. The 2018 Offa bank robbery incident appears to be generating fresh controversy as youth in the community and families of those who lost their loved ones are calling for restraint while appealing to politicians not to politicize the issue. At a meeting with stakeholders in Ilorin, a politician from Offa also lent his voice to the matter, calling on his colleagues to refrain from weaponizing the Offa robbery for political reasons.
In 2024, 5 suspects were convicted to death by the Kwara State High Court for their involvement in the Offa robbery in 2018. The incident is back in the news as the Kwara State government recently instituted a fresh case against the former Senate President Bukola Saraki for his alleged arming of the suspects, which has been denied several times by the former governor, his political party and family members in Ilorin. At a rally in Offa, youth marched across different streets to lament the alleged plan to victimize the former Senate President over the 2018 bank robbery, which has been dealt with by the court.
We stand here today, not just as youth, but as a concerned citizen and stakeholder of Offa, deeply troubled by the continued politicization of one of the most painful chapters in our history. It is therefore deeply disturbing that such a strategy continues to be used as a political tool, especially during the election period.
A father who lost his daughter, whom he described as a breadwinner, says he's been battling one ailment or the other and once again using his calamity for political gain.
I lose my daughter. She was 27 years old with one child. So she's our backbone in our family. Is feeding us and is financing our brothers. So then just kill him that very day. So since that day, we cannot perform our family as it is before.
The need for politicians to refrain from weaponizing the Offa robbery for political propaganda is highlighted at the rally.
The initials that are name dropping is a mere political propaganda. The attention of well-meaning individuals of Offa, including my humble self, has once again been drawn to the desperate and unfortunate resort to name dropping and distortion of facts by the administration of Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak.
The messages across Offa and Ilorin is for politicians to tread softly and avoid using the unfortunate Offa robbery incident for political gain.
In the world of sports, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) has announced that the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations will hold from June 19th to July 17th. CAF did not reveal whether Uganda, Kenya or Tanzania would host the opener or the final. The dates were approved by the FIFA Council in Vancouver, Canada, after fears that the countries would fail to be ready were doused, with CAF President Patrice Motsepe, who fought off a delay to 2028. This edition of AFCON, the first spread over 3 countries, will mark the return of the competition to East Africa for the first time since the 1976 edition in Ethiopia. The continent's football governing body also confirmed that the qualifiers for the tournament will begin in September this year. In the English Premier League, Arsenal have moved 6 points clear at the top of the table thanks to Bukayo Saka playing a prominent role and Victor Gyökeres taking his season's goal tally to 21 as they comfortably defeated Fulham at the Emirates Stadium. The Gunners took the chance to pile the pressure on title rivals Manchester City, who faced Everton on Monday. Newcastle United handed head coach Eddie Howe a timely boost as they returned to winning ways against Brighton. West Ham United's survival hopes were dealt a major blow as Brentford reignited their European prospects with victory at the GTEC Community Stadium. Santi Bueno's header dented Sunderland's European hopes after the 10-man Black Cats were held by relegated Wolverhampton Wanderers. Ipswich Town have secured an immediate return to Premier League as they defeated Queen's Park Rangers 3-0 to hold off the challenge of Millwall. Ipswich Town had the destiny of second spot in the championship in their hands, and 2 goals in the opening 10 minutes allowed the party to start early at Portman Road. Casey Keita rounded off victory 5 minutes from time as Ipswich joined Coventry City in the top flight next season. The Tractor Boys struggled last season on their return to the Premier League for the first time in 22 years, but will hope that experience serves them better for the challenge ahead. Playoffs have suffered a major setback after an 86-77 defeat to Club African left the Nigerian champions on the brink of elimination with 1 game to spare. The loss marks the 3rd consecutive defeat for the Flyers, who have now fallen to a 1-3 record in the Sahara Conference and sit 5th in the standings outside the top 4 required to qualify for the championship playoffs. James Butler led the Flyers with 18 points, while Omar Abada led the scoring for Club African with 25 points. The Flyers faced as Ville de Dakar in their last game on Sunday at the Prince Moulay Abdallah Sports Complex in Rabat.
Dukele getting his... They've done enough. There it is, the final buzzer. Club African make it 4.
We had 2 tough losses. It's kind of, get our back, have our back on the wall now. We have to just come out, and make sure we win the second game, regardless of whatever the outcome is going to be, whether we'll go through or not. It's very important. Coming down here, playing 5 games, winning 2, and losing 3. It's a great achievement for us. So our focus now is only on that 1 game that is coming up on Sunday.
In the NBA, the Los Angeles Lakers have defeated the Houston Rockets 98-78 to set up a Western Conference semifinal clash against the reigning NBA champions Oklahoma City Thunder. LeBron James top scored with 28 points plus 8 assists and 7 rebounds for Lakers, continuing his fine postseason form at the age of 41. The win spared the Lakers blushes, as a loss would have left them one defeat away from being the first team in history to squander a 3-0 playoff lead. Amen Thompson posted 18 points for Houston Rockets, which is heading home after a first-round playoff loss for a second straight season.
11 points. James one-on-one with Eason.
On the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump has hinted at a potential military operation in Cuba immediately after the war with Iran. He made it known at an event hosted by the Forum Club of the Palm Beaches in Florida. Earlier, Washington announced a new set of sanctions targeting the island nation, which Havana described as a form of collective punishment.
An architect who's really talented, has done a lot of work for him. He's got a flair, a beautiful Hispanic flair in particular. And he comes from originally a place called Cuba, which we will be taking over almost immediately. No, Cuba's got problems. We'll finish one first. I like to finish a job. On the way back from Iran, we'll have one of our big, maybe the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, the biggest in the world. We'll have that come in, stop about 100 yards offshore, and they'll say, "Thank you very much, we give up." But this man really is great. Rick Gonzalez, he's a great architect.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has suggested that some protests may be halted in the country following calls for a suspension of pro-Palestinian marches. The Prime Minister stressed that he would always defend the right to protest. However, he expressed concern about the effect of repeated marches on Jewish community. It follows the stabbing of 2 Jewish men in Golders Green, North London recently. The attack, which has been declared a terror incident by the police, is the latest in a string of violent incidents targeting Jewish people. And the main news again. Troops of Operation Hadinkai rescued 6 civilians, including women and children, during military operations in Gwoza local government area of Borno State. And the Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, visited Akwa Ibom State, has warned against impunity and recklessness in the force. As the news at 10 tonight, I'm Melinda Kinlami on behalf of the team. Good night.